Hello again, guys. This is Verdier, talking my mouth off again. I released a video yesterday entitled 2019 Honda Insight Cruise Control Fail. I think the word fail may not be the most appropriate word. More like limitations would probably be the best idea. I really wanted people to see what happens if you completely depend on the cruise control, or at least the radar cruise control, and what its limitations might actually be. I've had that situation happen to me many times before. That particular situation when you're going about 35 miles per hour and you're coming up in a car that's stopped at a stoplight, and the car never sees the car ahead of you, and it never stops. I put this question up on the forums for a while, get their opinions and ideas. One person quoted the manual to me. This is definitely an RTFM situation. Read the frickin' manual. I have read the manual, but I can't remember it, and I showed it in the other video. The thing is massive. One of the things it did discuss is that if there at certain speeds, if there's a significant difference in speed between the car ahead of you that you're coming up on and your vehicle, say 25 plus or more miles per hour difference, that there are situations where the car will not see that. I understand that, and it's important that people know that. I want you guys to know to use the cruise control safely and what it can and cannot do. Now, the manual also says it's mostly meant to be used on freeways or highways. I consider those to be expressways, big, 3-lane or 2-lane big highways where you're going 65 miles per hour. We do have several of those in Maine. We're not total hicks out here. But a lot of our roads are actually smaller 2-lane roads, one on each side, one going one way, one going the other way. And sometimes, a little larger, but not that much. But they're going through, rural areas, because there's a lot of rural areas here in Maine. And in situations like those highways, those little roads can reach 55 miles per hour at times. Most of the time they're 45 to 50 or so. And I think it's more than reasonable to use your cruise control then. Now, they do say freeway and highways, but then again, if you're using freeway and highway, what the heck is the use of having a auto cruise control system that brings you to a complete stop and then continues on from that point on, unless we're talking about traffic on an expressway. But then again, we run into another situation that I haven't run into yet in order to see how the car responds. What if you're driving and in the distance all the expressways come to a stop? You have no cars in your radar, but you're approaching it from a distance. You're going 65 miles per hour, and they're all at a stop because there was a big accident way up, and you're getting right at the end of it. Is the car going to notice those stopped cars ahead of you? I don't know. I think more than likely it will most of the time, but maybe not. It seems like most of the times I have these issues, it's in the 35 to 40 mile per hour range when I'm driving about those speeds and I come up on a light and there's a car stopped. It happens a significant number of times on this Honda. I've, queried as to whether I think it might be because the radar is way down there on the bottom instead of like behind the grill, more centered or whatever. I really don't know. I don't know enough about radar systems to understand how they work in that aspect, and maybe it makes no difference whatsoever. I do know, and this is the thing that sticks in my craw a little, is that this issue does happen on the Ford Fusion Energy I lease, but it happens maybe 5% of the time. Very rare. In this car, it's over 50% of the time. If I'm stuck in a situation, what you saw yesterday on that video, it will happen. Now, this is no diss on Honda. I mean, this is not even Honda's technology. This is outside technology put on it, and I still love it. I just think it's important, and I wanted people to see what can happen if you don't pay attention. Always pay attention. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to show you one way to make it safer for you to pay attention. Okay, guys, we're inside my baby. She was warming up. I wonder if 2X is a good idea here. All right, these are your control panels, and we have been settings. We've been through all these settings, but when you're driving, you've got this area right up here. I'm sorry, there's a lot of sunlight coming here. Let me pull down. No, that's not going to work. Well, it's going to be a little faded out. Let's see if I can Well, that's about the best I'm going to be able to do. Find out. That's about the darkness area. As I said before, you can have your cruise control, and there will be a dotted car in there when it's not, when your cruise control's on. There'll be a dotted car there, a dotted outline of a car, and when it fills in, it'll let you know that, that you have someone in your radar connection. Very important for you to know these things. Now, if you don't want to keep looking down at that, and you want to be able to just keep your eyes on the road, not have to worry too much about that, there is a setting in the car that's very important. That'll help you a lot in this. Now, some people might annoy. To me, it doesn't. Let's get into our settings. It's going to be under vehicle settings, if I remember correctly. And it should be, I'm going to go back a little bit here. Driver assistance. Yeah, it's probably going to be a driver assistance setup. Forward collision warning distance. No, that's different. Lane keep assist and ACC forward vehicle detect beep. Very important. Now, I have it turned on because I use the cruise control all the time. Probably more than I should, but I love it and it makes my life happy. In this situation, I have that turned on. Every time the cruise control sees someone in its radar while you're in radar-controlled cruise control, you'll hear a beep in the car. And it's not too loud, but it's loud enough for you to notice it. And every time you lose radar contact with somebody, it'll beep again. And that's the easiest way to know at all times whether you have radar connection with someone or not. Let's go home. Why am I hitting this thing there? I thought that was very important for people to know and understand the limitations of the cruise control. I don't know if this is a bug in the system. As I said, my Ford Fusion Energy has very few failures in this aspect. But this car has a lot of failures in this aspect. If anyone from Honda sees this, hardly any regular people see it, so I doubt Honda's going to see it. I hope they look into this. Some people suggested maybe my radar is not working right. I think it's working right. I think it's just a limitation of the car and the way the software and the hardware is set up in this car for cruise control. So I wanted you guys to be more clear on what this is. I'm not here to diss Honda. If I told you I love this car any more times than I already have, I think you guys would be calling social services on me, trying to get me put away because obviously I have a weird fetish for the car. But I thought it was important for everybody to understand it and to see it. And while I was filming, it happened, and I thought it was great to show it so you guys knew. So that's going to be the end of the line on this video. Anyone have anything else they want to know about the car, anything they want filmed or whatever, or ideas, just let me know. I think my next video is probably going to be a drive around in the Ford Fusion Energy. I don't have as much to talk about with that car because I'm not as enthused with it as this, but it's still nice to get an idea what it's like when it rides and hear it and so forth. Okay, so thank you, peace out, and take care, guys.